Hello everyone, I'm Chris and I'm from L3D Accessories. Today we'll be carrying out a tutorial video on how to clean the xTool F1 and also the xTool F1 extractor fan and purifier. Stay tuned and we'll get right to it. I'm going to start off with a little bit of a walkthrough just to show you exactly what we'll be doing. Right here we've got the xTool F1 and this is a well-used xTool F1. I've had this for about 7 months now and I do clean it, but as you can see it's got a little bit dirty there and it needs a good clean through. The same with the plastic cover, that also needs a clean. We're going to give the fans at the back a clean and a blowout. But most importantly, well not most importantly, but also just as importantly, I have the extractor fan unit here and the air purifier. And a lot of the time I'm engraving business cards or wood and you'll see that the actual extraction hose itself has got very dirty. But also, the extraction unit itself is very dirty and it now beeps when I use it, which the beeping signifies that the filter inside of it either needs to be changed or it needs to be cleaned. This unit right here has 2 filters built into it. There's a top one, which is cleanable, and we'll be doing that today. There's a bottom capsule, which is a replaceable unit from xTool.
So guys, before we start, I'm just going to run through some safety precautions. So the first thing you want to be doing, make sure your machines are turned off and the cables are unplugged from the back of them. Also, we're going to be using a dust extractor gun here, or a dust blower should I say, and as part of that it will be blowing particles around, so protect your mouth. Make sure you've got something to cover it up with, a filtration cover or a mask, just so you don't inhale any toxic fumes. Finally, we're going to be using IPA alcohol, so if you've got sensitive hands, wear gloves. I'll be using my bare hands. So if you're enjoying the content, please follow the channel and let's get off.
I'll start off by explaining the tools we'll be using for the job. So I've got a handheld vacuum cleaner, which is really useful for actually cleaning out the vents and stuff. We have also got a air duster. This is also really handy to blow out any particles that are stuck in small areas. We've got a 99% isopropyl alcohol. This is going to help us just clean the bed surface and those type of things. Just a generic kind of paper towel here. And also one thing I forgot to mention at the start is we will also be cleaning the lens. So this is a optical lens cleaner which I've purchased. I've used this numerous times and it works really well. So I'll show you how to do that later on as well. First step will be to remove the extraction hose from the rear of the units. Just grab it, give it a bit of a twist and a pull, and it should pop off, as you can see in there, absolutely filthy. We're going to do the same to the xTool F1. I'm just going to close the lid so I can hold the handle as I do this. You don't want to move the machine too much. Okay, and yeah, we've got a lot of dirt in there. So we're going to be cleaning this as part of the exercise today. But we'll get back to that a little bit later. We will now be starting the clean on the xTool F1. So shameless plug, this is a self-centering tool I make that I've just kept in there. I'm going to remove everything off of here, and then with our power air gun, couldn't get my words out there, with our air gun we're going to then blow inside of here and just try and remove any loose particles. So here we go. Making sure we get into all the nooks and crannies. So I'll get a close-up view of this again just so you can see. So we want to get inside of all the nooks and crannies just to make sure we get rid of anything that's loose. Okay, and we're also going to do the top of it as well. And the rear. Okay, we're happy with that. So all we've ensured there is that there are any loose particles that might be sitting on the surface have gone. Obviously, we could have blown dust onto the lens or other areas, but as part of this exercise, we will be cleaning all of those aspects. So that's why I've done this particular bit first. We'll now be vacuum cleaning up any other loose particles, so we're going to get in there. As you can see, I'm getting in the fan area to try and break away any loose parts, all of the grooves. And we'll go to the top as well. There we go. Right, you'll see a lot. I mean, I do green business cards a lot, and you'll see there's a lot of kind of parts where it's still fairly dirty. A vacuum cleaner and an air duster is good, but it's not going to get rid of the stuff that's actually stuck to the surface. So then the thing we're going to do next with our IPA spray is we're going to spray it all, and we're going to try and get in there with a bit of a brush, which I actually haven't shown you yet, but I will in a minute. Just a nylon kind of hand brush, and then we'll be trying to get in there and clean it. This is often one of my favorite parts to do because it actually gets rid of all the stains on it, which is very satisfying, if I'm honest. I'm giving it a very light spray there. Obviously, there are some circuits and stuff. I want to put enough on there that it can kind of help break it down, but I don't want too much in there. Okay, with our sheet of paper towel, we're now going to wipe the surface. I mean, here's the before. Let's give it a wipe, and you'll see it's coming up really nice there. But you want to do that. I mean, if you're doing metals that have got kind of anodized paint on them, or any kind of surface that's getting burnt off and leaving a nice shiny underside, you really want to do this often, because you'll find, even with the extractor fan, you'll find that the actual bits of paint, they detach and they start sticking to all of your surfaces. And over time, you're going to it's going to look really messy, but two, you've got your laser underneath, and particles are naturally going to start sticking on that. And it could affect the dexterity and the power of the laser, and you don't want that, because ultimately you want to be able to rely that the laser is going to do what it needs to do every time. So we've given that a little wipe there. As you can see, there's bits on the edge that are just really hard to get into, and that's why we're going to get a nylon brush now. So that'll be our next step. So here you can see we've got nylon bristle on this. This is just something, I think this might have even come with the air duster that I got. I will try and link it in my description for all these things. I don't get paid for them, but I find they make the job easier. So if it's going to make my life easier, it'll make yours. So it's worth sharing. So we're just going to give it as much a brush as we can. This obviously isn't going to get rid of everything, but if I can get in close here, that's before. And the after is it's still there, but you can see the bits coming off. Bits are coming out, so this is very much worth doing. And I try and get down the sides of all of these bits, which is easier said than done if you're holding a camera at the same time. But I'm doing this, so I'm carrying this kind of maintenance out probably. But I guess it depends on how regular I'm engraving, but I'd say I do this kind of once a month, sometimes more. So let's get all of these little grooves here. Once we've done this, we're going to give it a blast with the duster one more time, just to get rid of anything like that. So we're good there. That's come up a lot nicer now. You can see these particles. I'll probably actually put the vacuum cleaner in first, just to make sure I get rid of bits and I don't blow them everywhere. Okay, you're going to see now that, that's a lot better than it was. I don't know how clear it'll be on camera, but to the eye, it's so much clearer. So one thing I didn't mention at the beginning as well is we can actually remove this fan and give it a deep clean. I won't be doing it for this video, but I will do a separate video showing exactly how to do that. So keep an eye out for that one. The machine's been turned around now because I just want to show you how dirty it can get in the back here as well. So what I was mentioning a second ago, you can remove these screws and take this off, and you can get in there with an air duster and a vacuum cleaner and clean it. I won't do it this time. I'm just going to clean kind of the surface and get a vacuum cleaner in there to try and suck anything out. We'll also use our air duster again, because that's going to also help remove stuff. So let's get the vacuum in there first. As I said, easier said than done when you're holding a camera in one hand. Let's get this on here again. One thing to note is always be careful when you blow an air into a fan, because it can spin the fan and create a bit of electrostatic discharge, which isn't ideal. In this case, I just did it anyway, but that's just a bit of a disclaimer. So I'm putting a bit of IPA spray on this, a light covering again. That's going to allow me to get the same cloth I used a minute ago and just give it a good wipe around. I mean, ultimately, you want to be keeping this clean, because this is what keeps the seal between the extractor hose and the machine. If you get debris in there, potentially you can create air gaps, and and the efficiency of that seal will kind of knock back a bit. So there we go. I've just finished cleaning that. That is looking really good now, actually. I don't think we need to actually clean it much more. What you will notice is I did actually just spray into the back of this, so probably, more than likely, we'll have a bit of dust in there again. So that might be, note to self, maybe do that first next time. But I'm just going to give it one more wipe, just to make sure any particles that did fly through are now removed. And I am very happy with how that is looking. I don't know about you guys, but it's looking brand new. Look, no, it's not really, but it's close. Okay, the next step will be cleaning the laser. So you can screw these out. Mine is actually a bit stuck in there at the moment, so I can't screw mine out, but you can still clean it in this position, which I'll show you next. Okay, contrary to what I said, I actually managed to unscrew it. So I've led the machine on its back. I think you're okay to do that. I mean, I'm sure I've seen xTool recommend doing this in the past, so I've done it in the past and it wasn't an issue. So screw it round to the left, lefty-loosey, and what that will basically do is unscrew it from the machine and give you full access to the actual lens, as I can show you there. Let's have a look inside. There are our mirrors and our lasers, and then here we go, we've got our lens here. So it's pretty clean, because I actually clean this quite regularly, but I will be giving it a clean on this tutorial now, just to show you how to do it. You'll see here I have got the optical lens cleaner, I've got the lens, and I've got a microfiber cloth. This is what you'll need to carry out this next task. So we're going to give a light spray in here. You'll see if I can hold it up to the camera. There you go. Then with a nice clean microfiber towel or cloth, we're just going to get our finger in there and give it a wipe. Let it dry out a little bit, and then put another clean bit in there and do it again. One thing I'd highly recommend is having a really close look to make sure there are no kind of hairs or particles left on it, because as you can imagine, they will be amplified through the laser, and it could result in a loss of quality. So that's one side of it done. We're going to do exactly the same to this side. There we go, one spray. Then I just do a circular motion, making sure I don't get any fingerprints on it. And I do clean the actual kind of metal rim of it as well, because it can all basically build up with dirt from the use of the laser. So let's have a look at that. There's a couple of little specks on it. I'm just going to get them out. So it's important to use a microfiber cloth on this, because you don't want fragments or fibers left behind. So that's looking clean now. I can't see anything else on it. I'll just give it one little buff. So this bit's very important, that you do this nice, slow and steady, guys. We want to make sure that we've got no smudges and no bits on it. And I think I've achieved that. So once you've done that, grab your machine again. I'm going to turn mine sideways just because it's easier. And let's switch over the camera view. xTool actually recommend water in their instructions on cleaning this. I personally use 99% IPA. But if you don't want to go against what they're saying, then definitely use water in this case. The first thing we're going to do, you can see we've got the plate removed so we can get our hand in there. We need to clean this inside surface first. So with it in its current position, we want to basically clean it like this, okay? So I'll give it a very light spray in there on each side and the top, making sure I don't get anything on the laser, because ultimately I don't want to make that dirty. I'm going to pull off another bit of paper towel, and I'm going to get my hand in there now and just Just give it a good clean inside, okay? I mean, like I said, you can use water for this. You could use probably the glass cleaner for it. I know it's not glass, but that probably would work nicely as well. But these covers definitely pick up dirt over time. And as you can see, they are spring loaded. So probably use your other hand when you're doing it just to hold it down. I'm recording here, so I haven't got that luxury. So it's going to keep on springing down. At least you guys can see what you may encounter when you do it yourself. So we're doing the right side here now. Like I said, I actually, oh my, let me try and hold. So I actually clean this quite often, so it's not too bad, because I do a lot of videos where I'm basically recording the engravings and stuff, so it's quite important to keep it clean so you can see through. We've given it a rough clean inside, and now we're going to stand the machine up and do the other parts of it. IPA spray again. A rough one, that makes no sense. A light IPA spray, and I'm going to get my cloth on it, and I'm going to give it a good clean. So it should remove kind of greases on there. There's probably a very good scientific reason not to do this. For example, it could be that it wears the material down or something. Personally, I'm not bothered by that. I'm just going to do my best to clean it with IPA spray, because I like the fact that it's got a little something extra inside of it that helps remove grease and that kind of stuff. So we're just doing this side. So that's given us a clean front, as you can see. We haven't done this section here yet, so we're going to lift the lid up now, and we're actually going to spray the inside faces here, like we've just done previously. So one, and make sure you don't spray into the machine or on yourself like I just did there. So we're going to spray there, and then we're going to get our cloth back in, and we are going to give it a good clean. Like I said, this just helps. This helps a few things, really. Predominantly, it helps you see inside, but it also helps stopping getting the build-up of dirt, which probably will make this resist when you push it up and down. So cleaning it like this has lots of benefits. Okay, I'm happy with that. So let's put it back down. We can see through it. There we go. We've got a nice clean machine there. So that concludes our cleaning for the xTool F1. We're going to move on now to the filtration unit. In particular, well, we're going to give it a general clean, because you can see mine's built up quite a lot of muck on it. And we're going to take the lid off here, and I'll give you a little show inside of it. We'll take the lid off, and then we will also clean the filter at the top. And I'll show you how to do that, because it's really, really useful. If you're doing a lot of wood or a lot of metal, you'll find that gets filled up very quickly. And when this starts beeping, so if you do an engraving and this randomly beeps, that means you need to replace this or clean this. I've just been cleaning this so far, and it's been working. So let's do that next. I'm going to cook things off with a vacuum cleaner and just try and clean up the inside of here a little bit. Get around it. Then we're going to go around the outside of it, which we've already done once. As you can see, there's a lot of dust on there. So we're going to try and just get that clean. By the way, stick around to the end of the video, because I'm going to tell you something I only learned today, which will actually be quite good if you've got one of these extractor fans. Now we've done that, I'm actually going to get the air duster on and just give it a little blow, but I'm going to be very careful where I put it. I suspect if I blow into there, I'm going to get a face full of dust, which I really don't want. So we'll do the bottom bit first. Then we'll do that. So that's good. And then we're going to get our cloth on it, and we're going to give it a wipe just to clean it up. We want it, like I said with the xTool F1, we want this as clean as possible so that you've got a solid seal between the extraction hose and the machine. That way you're hopefully getting a maximum suction out of that, because it can build up, as you saw with mine. So that's looking a lot cleaner. I mean, you guys saw what it looked like before. Much better. So we've already improved this without even taking the lid off, but we're going to do that next, okay? And a little caveat there, I apologize for the portrait filming. old habits die hard, and I accidentally switched to portrait in the middle of it. We're back to landscape now, okay? So let's take this lid off. I'm going to put the phone on my mount. We're going to stand up, and I'm going to show you how to do this next bit. So you'll see there are these little handles on the side here. There's one either side. What we're going to do, we're going to stand directly above it, push it in, and pull it up. And you'll see that will pop off. And that is absolutely filthy for one, so that needs a good clean. One thing to note, I will be moving my machine, my xTool F1, away from this. But more importantly, this is absolutely filthy. I've just touched it, and look at that. So I'm going to try and vacuum that out first in its position. Then we're going to take it out and give it a clean. As you can imagine, this is actually going to use a lot of dust. So make sure you're not using it. This is something that I don't mind if it breaks. So here we go. There you go, look. Look at that for a bit of dirt. We're going around the perimeter. Now I'm going to just do all of the surfaces on top to just try and get rid of anything that is potentially going to come loose and block it up again. Okay, you'll see now, we've done that first stage. We can actually pull this up and we can give this a clean now. But you'll see there are two little toggle handles here. This is a cartridge that does come out, okay? This is the part I was telling you about that you need to buy from xTool if you need to replace it. I think this has got like the clever filtering in this. This is like a first line filter. This is like the one that does all the hard work, really. This just blocks all the particles getting through. So I don't know how much they cost. They might be like £100 or something, but they're not cheap. But they obviously have a detrimental effect on this. So should you need to replace it, this is how you do it. Pull it up, take it out, and put the new one in and replace it. What I'm going to do for this tutorial is I am purely going to give this a clean. So give it another vacuum. Both sides. Also, I believe you can buy these as well on probably Amazon. It's just, I'll have to find out the type of filter material it is, or if someone in the comments wants to answer that question. But you could just buy a bigger one and cut it to size and replace it as well instead of cleaning it. That's completely up to you. So we're going to try and clean the top here. This has been a long time coming, this one has, so I'm glad that I finally get the opportunity to do this. We're going to be obviously wiping this down after. So we'll get rid of whatever we can first. Okay, that's good. And now I'm going to give it an IPA spray. My favourite substance, IPA. Sit down on my chair because I like to sit down for this bit so I can be a bit more precise. So let me peel off quite a bit of this stuff. Okay, we're going to give it a good spray here because ultimately there is a lot of dirt around this. And now with our cloth, we're going to wipe it all. So you guys have seen what the before was like. Let's see how clean we can get this. Just by a good old-fashioned bit of elbow grease. I mean, it's already coming up much nicer. Yeah, business cards, they are great. They look amazing, but those things really produce a lot of dust and debris that goes everywhere. I mean, I even find with my extractor hose, when I do business cards, it actually seems to pass through the extractor onto the wall behind it. So I'm having to clean the wall all the time whenever I use business cards, but that's the price we pay for having a versatile tabletop engraver at the end of the day, isn't it? And I love this thing, so I wouldn't change it. I don't mind a bit of a clean every now and then if it means I get to have fun in engraving things. So still giving this a good clean, everyone. I'll stop talking now and speed up the video. Okay, I think we're happy with that. I mean, the inside isn't pristine, but it's clean enough, but importantly, the outside looks much cleaner. So we're going to put that to the side. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this and I'm actually going to run it under a tap and clean this. Here we go then. So we're at the sink, just going to get some water, and I'm going to run it under the water and let all the dust and stuff, I'm going to squeeze it up. I'm going to give it a squeeze to try and basically force any particles and dust in there to just separate. And what I like to do is kind of roll it up as well. Compression obviously helps remove dirt, so squeeze that sucker and get it nice and clean. Right, that's looking a lot better. Naturally, we can't put it back in when it's wet. So the next thing we want to do is dry it out, which I will do. Once dry, we'll carry on the video and put it back in. Whilst it is drying, I'm actually going to give the inside faces a bit of a spray as well, because I didn't get around to cleaning those. So we will now, because we just want it clean anyway, because a clean machine is a happy machine. That's my saying. And also, I mean, for those of you that don't know me, I used to be in the army, the British Army. I spent 7 years in it, and one motto that they used to preach to us, which is very true, is do it nice or do it twice. And that has been the case for so many things that I've tried to rush in the past in my life, that I now try and do things right the first time, so I don't have to go back a second time. And to me, giving it a good thorough clean, especially while I'm showing you guys, it's even better. You know, that's the right thing to do and the right way to do it. You can see a lot of dirt comes off it. I mean, it's actually really quite surprising just how much. Well, I guess it's not really. It's a filter at the end of the day. It's designed to take muck, isn't it? Another task we can actually crack on with whilst the filter is drying is giving this a clean. You can see mine is pretty dirty. So first thing we're going to do, as per usual, is get the vacuum cleaner in and just try and give it a bit of suction in there to suck everything up. Do the other side as well. Right. I'm also going to now extend it, because you'll see there's a lot that can get trapped in between these bits here. Just making sure mine is good. Yep. So we're going to extend it there and then get the vacuum in, and that pulls that out really nicely. Same with the internal surfaces. Any bits that are stuck in the grooves there, we can get out. Alright, we're going to have a little inspection along the length of it. Anywhere we see dirt, we're going to try and suction it up. So, this end isn't so bad, but there is still some dust. Okay, now we've done that, we are going to get our trusty IPA wipe and spray, and we're going to give it a little bit of a loose wipe. Okay, our trusty 99% spray is going to be going to town on this. Just going to give it a good wipe, a good spray, sorry. Drop my cloth, so let's pick that up. Then we're just going to get stuck in and wipe it until we're happy with how clean it is. Like I said earlier, we want these clean so that we know we get a solid seal between the machine and the actual extraction. And in these grooves, I've got a lot of muck in there, so I'm trying my best to get in without breaking it, and I'm giving it a wipe. And as you can see, that's the kind of stuff you're picking up off of this. It really does add up. I'll get the cloth inside as well, and I will just have a bit of a twist. A bit harder to clean the inside of it, but it does get stuff out. All right, that's it. That's that bit clean. We're going to switch to the dirtier side now, and we're going to spray it. Because you can see when you spray it, this stuff literally melts. It's brilliant. Exactly what we want. We want to get rid of it so it's not sat there anymore. So I'm going to try and do the inside first this time. Look at that. Filthy. Filthy, but it feels good to clean it. We're going to spray the outside bit as well, and we're going to have a little bit of a clean around here. Getting in there and giving it all the clean, so we're happy. And you know what? I am happy with that. That's a lot better than it was. Let's put it back together. Very satisfying, as I can imagine you can see. Oh, interestingly, pushing that back in has made it dirtier again. So back we go. It just shows how much loose stuff is in this. I mean, what I will do, I've never tried this before, and I'm going to aim it away from me. We're going to spray in there. We've just given that a spray, and actually that's made a really good difference there. One thing I probably should say at this point is, is if you are going to do this and you have got a lot of stuff in it, you might want to wear some kind of filtration mask, because we don't want to be inhaling these microparticles. So I will put a caveat at the start of the video for that, because, yeah, I mean, it's still dirty inside because we can't physically get in there unless someone knows of a really good... I mean, when I was in the army, we used to have pull-throughs for the rifle barrels, which that would be quite good for this, like a cloth with a bit of string that you just pull through and it feeds it all. But I'm much happier with that now than I was when we started, so that's excellent. We're good to put that back on. Here it is. We now have a nice clean-ish filter. So what we're going to do is we are going to place it back in. We want to make sure that it occupies the whole space and there's no gap, because ultimately it wouldn't be doing its job properly if that's the case. There we go. That's now seated in there. What we will do next is place the actual extractor back in there, or the lid, sorry. Make sure I've got it the right way around. You want the label obviously aiming towards the back. So that is clipped in. So let's have a little look at this before we put it all back together. As you can see, I mean, I've got a few stains on mine. That's just from general wear and tear. But it is actually looking a lot better, and the important part really is the rear end of it. And yeah, I'm happy with that. So what we're going to do next is we are now going to assemble everything back together. We're going to take our hose and we are going to put it into the top port. That's obviously the bit that feeds directly into the filtered area. There we go. A nice tight fit. You want to twist it as you push it on, so you've got a nice seal there. So I will now be rotating the machine back around and attaching the next section, which is this, onto the back of our xTool F1. Once again, a nice twist so you've got it on there tight. Let's get a nice bend radius on our extractor hose. There we go. And then back how we found it. Here's a nice little advertisement for this jig, by the way. This is something I make. But we have now finished our cleaning setup. So we're ready to engrave something. If you've enjoyed the content here, please follow the channel. Like I said, I'll be doing lots more of this kind of stuff. We have a lot of fun on our channel as well. So I post 3D printing and laser engraving. So I try and combine the two hobbies. Thank you very much for tuning in, and have a great day. Take care, guys. Bye.